Good evening. Welcome to the Love Your Neighbor Show. I'm your host, KG Wilson, founder and president of Hope Ministries, spokesman for the Sherez Jones Foundation, national peace activist here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are so glad that you tuned in to us again today. We have a special show today, and in our studio. And in our studio today, we have Pastor Lennox, and he's from Washington, D.C., and he will let you know a little bit more about where he's from and his organization. And we have Sister Dorothy
Dunning.
Sister Dorothy Dunning, and she's a grandmother who is actually trying to get custody of her two grandchildren from the state of Minnesota.
That is correct.
Okay, and she will be explaining that to you. And my young sister here is Sister Deja? Denasia. And she will be our guest in the studio too, and you will hear from her also. Now, were you in foster care? Mm-hmm. Okay, she, like myself, was in foster care. So back and just reach down into your hearts. And anybody who out there right now who's watching this show, if you were ever in foster care or you were ever trying to get your children or grandchildren out of foster care or from the state, please, you need to pay attention to what's going on this show. This is a special show that we are sending a message out, but we are also looking for the attention of different people, community leaders, pastors, and everybody who can find it in their heart to understand that children need to be with their blood relatives. I can say this from experience because I was raised in a foster home, and I would have gave any toy I had as a child to be with my real paternal parents, grandmother, mother, father, whoever. So with that said, I am going to start off with you, Sister Dorothy.
Yes.
I am so pleased to meet you. I'm glad to have you on the Love Your Neighbor show. And I have heard somewhat about this particular case. Anytime I hear about children being not with their parents, it hits me in my heart. And yes, because of me being raised in a foster home and going through what I did, and I still have some painful memories in my head today. There's some bitterness inside of me because I don't have the relationship with my real family. I did go on to meet my mother years later, but I don't have that relationship that I would have had if I would have been right there with my grandmother or my parents. Or I got to spend a little time with my grandmother, then she died. So, and that hurts. That hurts a lot. So, Sister Dorothy, why don't you kind of tell our viewers and me a little bit about your case?
My case started in December of 2009. This is how long I've been fighting this case. When I discovered my granddaughter was in foster care, she was just barely 2 months old. Mm. And my son was led to believe by the young lady that her sister had the baby. My son and the mother was on substance abuse. When my son discovered that the baby was there, which was on a weekend, he came. He was living in Minnesota. He had been up here over 10 years, and he moved back home to Mississippi. And when he moved back home, I was trying to put him and the young lady in a facility to get him some help. Okay. So I'm thinking that her sister had the baby, my granddaughter. So I'm thinking that once I get them situated, I'll get out and come on up and pick up my granddaughter. But lo, the girl gave us a blow that we couldn't believe, that she told us her sister didn't have the baby, that the system had the baby. So we got up. She told us on a Saturday. We got up Monday morning and called, and it's been a nightmare. It's been a horrible nightmare for the last 3.5 years. It will be 4 years this coming December that I've been trying to get my granddaughters. But I want to know why we cannot get no support hardly from the community. It's just sad that this is going on, and everywhere you go, every child you run into, they say, I've been in foster care. I'm a foster care. It just it's just unheard of. I never seen anything like this before. Every child you run up on just about, they is a product of foster care. This is something that's wrong. Something is terrible wrong in the state of Minnesota. This is not right. And like I said, when I discovered my granddaughter was there, I asked them, can I come up to visit? They told me no. They told me I couldn't even ask no questions about my grandchildren until I got licensed, foster care license. I never seen anything like this. And found out later, they could have gave me a waiver. They could have gave me a waiver in order to get my granddaughters. I didn't even know it. And then, come to find out, my sister had license.